94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
Thank you to Resource Financial Services for providing an Orca tumbler for this week's featured soldier. Proud to offer military personnel zero lender fee mortgages. ResourceVALoans.com. Hey, it's Ethan James. Welcome to the Soldier Salute. Today we're going to be talking to the state commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of South Carolina and retired U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant Ted Tufts. Ted, thanks so much for being on the Soldier Salute with me today. Thanks so much for your service. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your road to the United States Air Force.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the chance to talk. I am from Massachusetts. Joined the Air Force in 1975. I joined the Air Force because I watched my father going off to fly when I was a young man, and I decided I wanted to do what he did. Although I didn't want to fly the airplane, I just wanted to ride in the back end, and that's what I ended up doing, being a loadmaster on the C-141 from Charleston, where I spent my whole career. Luckily enough, flying around the world gave me enough hours and time to stay in Charleston. So I was one of the lucky ones. I enjoyed my career flying, enjoyed my career in the Air Force. Unfortunately, I had to retire because they wanted me to move, and my family said, well, go ahead, tell us where you're living and what your address is, because we're not going. At that time, I had one child still in high school, so I decided it'd be better to retire and stay in Charleston and keep everybody happy.
So, Ted, you were very, very fortunate. You spent your 20 years serving in Charleston, South Carolina. Did your time, 20 years in Charleston, did that really seed it home for you, that South Carolina is the place that I want to be, this is home now?
Well, after I retired, I'd spent my whole time here. I'd had a house. All of my friends are here. My wife is from North Carolina, so she's a Southern girl.
And it's not miserably cold like Massachusetts.
No, and I miss it. I really love this weather, like right now when it's cold and it's time to burn the fireplace. Everything I had was here. Everybody knows that Massachusetts has got a nickname called Taxachusetts, and I really wasn't prepared to uproot everything I have and move back. And I've been here ever since 1975, so I don't call myself a Southerner. I'm a transplanted Yankee, and I'm always going to be a Yankee. But I like it. I enjoy it down here, and I'm glad I'm living here. It's a nice place to live.
Ted, I had the pleasure and experience of running into some loadmasters while I was in the United States Marine Corps. Unfortunately, it wasn't like the best scenario whatsoever because, the loadmaster told me, no, you're not bringing that on my plane, and I really, really had to get going. So for all of us that don't know about the MOS, tell us a little bit about your time as a loadmaster.
The job of the loadmaster is to figure the weight and balance of the cargo aircraft, be it a C-141 like I had all my time on, C-130s, C-17s, even KC-135s and KC-10s. We're basically the all-around person that controls the back end of the airplane. We plan the loads, we figure the weight and balance, figure where they're supposed to be on the airplane, and then when we're flying with passengers, we take care of the passengers, make sure they're safe, know all the ins and outs about what goes on back there. You just don't put a large piece of cargo anywhere on the airplane and think it's going to fly. An airplane is like a sailboat, except, we're a sailboat, the sail goes vertically. Airplanes have wings that go horizontal. So, when you fly through the air, the wing creates lift, and if you have too much weight on the back of the airplane, then you're going to drag, and if you have too much weight in the nose, then you're going to fly nose down or not take off.
I got to ask, your dad, he flew as a pilot. You've been in the air a lot. I mean, tell us, do you miss flying?
I do. I miss flying every day. It was, getting ready to go somewhere, being just flying somewhere in the States or flying to Europe or South America. It was, you get to see something new, you get to go places and do different things. And I've seen all sorts of places all over the world that regular people wouldn't see. I didn't have to buy a ticket to do it. Uncle Sam let me go and show me the way. But yeah, I do miss it. I do. And every time I see an airplane fly over, I look up there and think, I wish I was still doing that. It never gets out of your blood.
Ted, you retired from the United States Air Force 20 years as a Master Sergeant, E7 in the Air Force. Tell me a little bit about the job of a Master Sergeant in the Air Force and the enjoyment that comes from it, the hardships that come from it, from being in that leadership position.
The Master Sergeant is middle tier of the senior NCO. You're not quite taking over and managing large groups or flights of people. You're managing small, maybe 1, 2, or 3 or 4 different types of people. It was a special thing for me because I worked long and hard for it in the Loadmaster field. It was a hard rank to attain because so few slots open for being a Master Sergeant,
right,
and so many people that were testing for it. At the beginning of the leadership roles, and you're learning about being a leader, and they give you more and more responsibility.
Ted, you're the state commander for the Veterans of Foreign Wars of South Carolina. You got to tell me, you served 20 years, and now you've done over a decade serving as an officer in the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Tell me about the road getting here to becoming the state commander of South Carolina.
It's sort of a funny story. I actually joined the VFW state commander at that time, Dave Mellert, who was flight engineer at the Air Force Base. He and I flew together every once in a while, even though we were in different squadrons. And met him up at the VFW post in Somerville while I was up there attending another function, and we got to talking. And he said, "Hey, you're eligible for the VFW. You want to join?" And I said, "Well, yeah, let's do it." My wife and I both were sort of at the point where we were looking for other people to talk to that knew what we did. Being a flyer's wife, she took care of everything when I was gone. We talked military, and being up there, we were able to talk to people who understand what I did and what she did. As I saw the positions open in the post, I said, well, I think I might like to try that. So I started working my way up the post level, eventually being a post commander. And then from there, I started working in the district, eventually worked my way up to the district commander. But along the way, I never had any thoughts about being a state commander. Never. And one day we were sitting around chatting with some other folks, and some of my friends looked at me, and Dave and some of the older folks, and they said, "You're going to be the state commander of South Carolina one of these days." And I said, "No way. That's never going to happen." And a very good friend, Kay Mellert, who's Dave's wife, she said, "Yes, you are. You're going to be the state commander."
We got this crazy pandemic going on, right? The VFW, things have got to be a little difficult right now. But I also know that there's a lot of posts out there still holding on. Tell me about how the posts are doing here in South Carolina during this tough time.
Well, it is a very tough time for all of our posts. Some of them are not making it. Some of them are just barely scratching along because their members are much older and they're afraid of getting close to other people and getting this terrible COVID that's out there. And it's totally understandable. But some of the posts are really making headway, and they're doing it by holding food drives, collecting clothing, collecting money, phone calls to their members, doing buddy checks, finding out how they're doing, and if there's problems, they help them out. So the posts are really rallying around and really working hard to beat this.
I'm a life member of Post 6740 out there on Lake Murray, and I try to tell my younger generation of veterans that the VFW is not this thing that they think it is. It's not this smoke-filled room where people just go to drink beer and tell war stories. There's a lot of really, really good things that go on in the VFW here.
Oh, that's true. We are very lucky in South Carolina to have a lot of younger veterans in leadership roles. They understand that the younger veterans don't want to sit around talking and smoking and telling war stories and drinking and such. They want to get out there and they want to do family things and they want to do things to help people in the community.
Right.
So that's what our posts are going, and I'm very proud of what they're doing. South Carolina has done a lot of work to help the veterans in the areas. When I picked my staff and my officers my chairman to help me this year, I went for the younger folks. I knew they have a lot of good ideas. If you've got an idea, we'll run with it. If it doesn't work, hey, we'll regroup and we'll try it again. If it works, press on and keep on going. And I think our younger leaders are appreciative of that.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pig's Barbecue, serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. And Palmetto State Armory, American made for life. And Franklin Equipment, rent, buy, rely. And Atkins Law Firm Workers' Comp Attorneys, who you hire matters.